Perhaps you had imagined all maiden worlds to be virginal paradises, like Lilea Vanir. Not so, you shan't. My elders told me that the world was once covered by mighty oceans, but in my time, they had become little more than deserts. The Exodite clans were hardy and endured. Some even thrived. They remained numerous, if not prosperous, through the slow draining of the seas. 14 centuries before my birth, the clans gathered to fight off an invasion, entering Ushant through the gate that we just used. Mor nodded across the greenly glowing pool and lapsed into silence. The clans were victorious, but they became cursed in the process. In the conflict, they learned new ways of making war from their enemies. Crude, indiscriminate, effective ways. Once the immediate threat was overcome, the clans turned their war machines on each other.
What?
Motley was incredulous.
Why would they do that?
Honor, pride, and stupidity in equal measure. The dispute began over which clan should control the gate and guard against future incursions. The strongest clans, the Far Light, and the Many Islands, each opposed the other, gaining the prestige of controlling the gate. The two sides' bloodkin and allies aligned with them, in pressing their claims. Many had become so invested in making war during the conflict with the invaders, so my elders said, that they were loath to give it up when peace was won.
Tragic.
Motley frowned unhappily.
I'm ashamed no one came to intercede and make peace between the clans.
Mor laughed, a mordant cough of humor soaked in bile and bitterness. Oh, they came. Many times. Finely dressed ascetics came from those drifting cradles we call craft worlds to tell us how to improve our lot. They hid behind their masks and shed crocodile tears at our misfortunes, while discomforting themselves not one iota to help us. In my own time, they came once again and sat in judgment of us like celestial beings that had reluctantly descended into the common muck. They had finally tired of the dispute and announced their intention to give their support to the survivors of the Far Light clan. Motley pursed his lips but did not speak, as he wondered which craft world it was that had so thoroughly bungled their guardianship of Ushant. Each craft world accepted nominal responsibility for a number of the Maiden Worlds scattered across the Great Wheel. Some viewed the Maiden Worlds as the hope for the future of the Eldar race, the seeds from which the Eldar might once more grow to prominence on the galactic stage. Other craft worlds viewed Maiden Worlds as no more than a burden, mere primitive backwaters, the resource-sucking wreckage left behind by a failed survival plan. Instead of quelling the conflict, the decision lent it renewed vigor. The Many Islands clan attacked the Far Light and their craftworld patrons that very night. They appeared to be surprised by the turn of events. They defended themselves poorly. Mor's helm tilted up at the memory, its bloodstone tusk catching the light and creating the illusion that they were slicked with fresh gore. Ara. Mor spoke the name with conviction. Make no mistake, it was Ara himself that came to me then. He told me without words that I was worthy to test my strength at his shrine. He challenged me to do so.
The legends say that Ara was destroyed.
Nothing ever truly dies.
Perhaps the legends meant that he was changed beyond recognition.
Tread carefully, little clown. You know nothing about what you speak. Mor was an incubus in service to the Drukhari Cabal of the Realm Eternal. An exodite born on the maiden world of Ushant, this once prosperous world of clear blue oceans would be ravaged by war following the fall of the Eldari Empire. Now little more than a barren desert due to the infighting of clans such as those of Farlight and the Many Islands. From this cemetery world, a blood-drenched youth followed the spectre of Ara to the shrine made in his glory. Pledging fealty to his master, Archon Kralak of the Cabal of the Realm Eternal as his loyal chief executioner for many years, this exemplar of the Silent Brotherhood upheld his oath of duty for millennia before disaster struck his household. Aiding the attempted coup to overthrow Supreme Overlord Azrabael Vect, schemed by the Archon of the White Flames Cabal, Nyos Ilithian, as part of the coalition of his own master, and Archon Zelion of the Blades of Desire. Their efforts to revive the long-dead rival of Vect, El Uriak, by procuring his remains from within the depths of his forbidden realm, Shadom, and torturing a pure heart as a catalyst to fuel his resurrection. unquestioning in his duty to aid his master's ambition. On the eve of their departure to raid the maiden world of Lilia Fenir for their prize, an attempt would be made on his Archon's life. The culprit of the release of the Plague Glass virus within the palace of the Realm Eternal, believed to be Archon Zelian. Kralak, though hesitant, could not show weakness, and thus commanded his men to assault the domains of the Blades of Desire. Conflict erupting between the conspirators of the plot. Though Archon Ilithian enacted a parley to end the fighting, Kralak would be slain by Zelian during their duel of honor. Satisfied that justice had been restored, Maw retrieved his master's body to be revived by his Cabal's homunculi, acting as the Cabal's deputy until Kralak returned to full health. Commanding the warriors of the Realm Eternal as they set upon the Exodites of Lilia Fenir, Maw alongside his collaborators Azesha, Sindiel, Ziriad, and Kabir captured Worldsinger Larian Silkadeith, signaling the doom of the planet and enraging the world spirit coalesced of the slain. The enigmatic Harlequin, Motley, observing the mayhem wrought by the Dark Eldar, his intervention aiding Maw and his comrades escape from the Maiden World via a network of webway tunnels, would be the first of his collaborations with the imposing Incubus. Maw's absence from his Cabal, leaving the Realm Eternal leaderless. With no knowledge of their success procuring the Worldsinger, Archon Ilithian returned to Komorra, claiming droves of Exodites to be auctioned within the Dark City. Maw's team fighting their way through the Fawnlings of the subrealm of Iron Fawn, their escape from the realm would be barred by the Cabal of the Black Heart. Ambushing the servants of Vect, stealing their raider before venturing through the portal, the bound sons of Ilmea proved their return to Komorra as they fought their way from Eidolon's Provence until reinforced by the Cabal of White Flames. Once more serving his master's compatriot by venturing deep into the conflagration of Shaddam with his tenuous allies, though Ziriad would be felled by the shadow incubi within, their objective to retrieve the skull of El Uriak would be achieved. Successful in restoring both Archon Kralak and El Uriak, drawing power from the pure-hearted, the near-instantaneous rebirth proved suspect under the ministrations of Homunculus Belophonus, inciting chaos. El Uriak striking at Belophonus, injuring him gravely, while Archon Ilithian attempted to grow the returned tyrant of Shaddam's power base. Archon Kralak's restoration proved to be far less successful. Though revived, a nagging fatigue dogged Kralak's mind, his inspection of his domains vindicating his paranoia, finding blood aplenty dashing his palace, with no trace of the men and women loyal to his household. Confronted by Maw within his inner sanctum, the chief executioner put down the demon host who had once been his master, the sudden bonding of the parasitic entity clearly having ties to the resurgence of El Uriak. Finding sanctuary within the Incubi Order as events beyond his own control unfolded. Soon thereafter, Archon Zelian fell to the blades of her own Cabal during a sparring match, overtaken as she was by unnatural bloodlust. Motley aiding in the assassination of El Uriak, the release of the Glass Plague, galvanized by the song of the Worldsinger, now bound to the tyrant of Shaddam, trapped the demon within his crystalline flesh before Homunculus Belophonus destroyed it with a black hole dimension trap to drag it screaming into the void. The results of the failed coup, setting in motion a webway disjunction which would threaten Komorra, the demon's true intent to unleash its kin within the domains of the Dark City, mirroring the fate of the realm of Shaddam. Knowing Maw to have been instrumental in enacting the events which befell Komorra, Motley joined forces with the disgraced Chief Executioner in his attempts to end the peril to come. Maw seeking the hierarchs of the Incubi Order to judge him for his actions, the unlikely duo began their pilgrimage to the Shrine of Ara, using hidden portals once used by Archon Kralak. Venturing through unstable webway paths, as the disjunction burgeoned, Maw's singular willpower guarded his body from the unstable elements of the Immaterium as he marched towards his goal. Following a shade of his former self as they reached the sands of his once homeworld, Motley witnessed the path the Incubi had tread to reach his order of warriors, until being confronted by defenders of the portal gate leading to the shrine. Combining their contrasting skills to pass by the barrage of artillery, within the Shrine of Ara, an Incubus duelist of his order provoked Maw to a duel, only to lose his head and hands as adornments to his trophy rack. Ambushed further into the shrine by another 4 Incubi, with Motley's aid, the warriors passed unharmed to the final challenge of the domains of Ara, Drazar. Facing the living sword in single combat as the hierarchs refused to judge him for his crimes, Maw fought bravely against the avatar of his creed, yet would be disarmed of his weapon and helmet. Injured from myriad wounds by the superior combatant, nevertheless, Drazar would stay his hand, and after a curt bow, leave more satisfied by his martial skill. His mission to be judged by the hierarchs denied, forcing Motley to cast a hasty temporary portal to secure their escape. Despondent with his efforts within the shrine of Ara, Motley's unsuccessful words of encouragement would require a sterner approach, the Harlequin promising to proclaim his failure for all to hear should he resign himself to die. Set upon by dire avengers of Craftwell Bialtan upon the outpost of Ashmeril T, their arrogant seer, Koreus, demanded more surrender to answer for his crimes to their own superiors. Allowing them to seize more using a swift kick to his face to ensure his unconscious compliance, Motley accompanied the band of Craftworlders on their journey, leaving a trail for his kin to intervene. Set upon on the world of Cadolith by his masked kinsman, clad and armed with Drukhari equipment, Motley freed more from his bindings and fled the battle, unable to conjure another portal, knowing the Warlock would track its location. More showing signs of the hunger, having not slain an opponent in some time, Motley made all haste to the nearest permanent webway gate to prevent his companion from transforming into one of the so-called Parched. Confiding in Moore that he sought to unite all Eldar under a single banner to combat the terrors of the galaxy. Upon Lilia Fenir, Moore would cement himself as a martyr to such a cause. Confronting the World Spirit, to which he had enraged by capturing its World Singer, Moore donned the bloody helmet of his kill from within the Shrine of Ara and fought the Gestalt of the tormented Exodite souls. Warlock Koreus attempting to thwart Moore's battle, Motley allowed the foolhardy seer to intervene, having sighted telltale signs of the Changer of Ways, manipulating his intent. Switching a rune from within the seer's assorted collection when not looking, Motley's actions allowed the seer to cast an unintentional spell, which would empower Moore's form. His terrifying new stature allowing the Incubus to unleash his distilled rage, combined with the World Serpent of Lilia Fenir. The Aspect Warriors, under the command of Exarch Iosa, turning on Koreus with his surrender to the Changer of Ways, as he fought desperately to survive the psychic barrage of Moore. Their distraction facilitated a fulcrum of power which vaporized the seer. As the Aspect Warriors fled from the battle, Moore's body intertwined with the World Spirit likewise disintegrated. The cause of the disjunction now removed, easing the tumult of the webway and ensuring the survival of Gamora. The sacrifice of Chief Executioner Moore, a testament to the willpower of his order. This crestfallen Exodite born of a world of death and destruction would deny further ruin through an act of penance.